And welcome to the very first episode of the 13 Palm Trees Under the Shade podcast. I am Michael. I am here with Daniel.
Yep, that's me.
Jed. And in the corner, whichever one.
I'm putting him right in the center.
Damn it.
Just right.
He's actually covering up.
It has been less than 15 seconds and I've been thwarted already.
I'm just going to crop out his face and put it over top of Jed's face so nobody has to look at him.
So the floating face over top of Jed's face is Ryan Wolfong. How are you, Ryan?
Actually, three now on top of Ryan Turner.
That's true. Nobody's ever been on top of Ryan Turner. Let's not kid ourselves.
Oof.
God.
Well, since we're starting strong
Coming
here,
in with smoke right off the bat.
Bruh, it's been a long time since I've been on a podcast or like anything with all three of you guys. So
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
shit's going to get
if
weird.
you come to the studio and you don't throw your trash in the fucking trash can, you were going to get lit up on the Under the Shade podcast, all right?
Jed.
I threw it away
Hey,
a couple weeks
shut
later.
up, Jed. Right.
I still threw it away, though.
Yes, Jed. Your shirt is available in our store, 13palmtrees.myshopify.com.
You're going to hear that a lot.
Yes,
I'm
you will.
logging in right now.
Sweet.
All right. So a lot of you are probably like, well, what the hell is this? Like, why this show?
I'm
Like,
also wondering that.
So the point of Under the Shade is a monthly podcast and video podcast where we just get together and just talk about like what we're doing, whether it be in the shows or in our personal lives or what we're doing in the little entertainment corners that we're all stuffed into, just to kind of breathe some life into the company and, you know, just the back alley things that we're doing that we probably shouldn't talk about in any other avenue other than here.
Let's not talk about the back alley stuff.
Well, if you wouldn't be doing that kind of back alley stuff, we could, you know, have an open conversation about it.
I don't have an indoor bathroom, so I kind of have to go somewhere.
I think
All
that's
right.
for the front alley.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's kind of the point of the show. And then just to highlight some of the up and coming things that are going on in the 13 Palm Trees world, what's been happening, new media avenues or new shows or old shows and what's happening with them. Just starting off right there. So
Michael, aside from disappointing all of your friends and family constantly, what have you been up to?
wow, dude.
Well, I think you've covered all the bases.
All right, Daniel, on to
Hey,
you.
listen, he does his job well.
He's very committed to it.
It's been a good podcast, guys. I'll catch you next month.
Close it down.
So, continuing on about the show, the idea of this is it's not going to be the four of us. It may not ever be the four of us, or one of us on the show. The idea is that we have a rotating cast of
Except
people.
for right now.
Well, yes.
Good
Jed.
observation, Jed.
Shut up, Jed.
We have him
God.
here for the important stuff.
But just a rotating cast of any of the 13 Palm Trees family, any of the podcasts of photographers, YouTubers, streamers, whatever we have going on, just have anyone and everyone that can be on the show to be on the show. And then we'd all just talk.
Maybe
about what's
you.
happening.
You know, I think what we'll come to find after a few episodes of this is I think you'll step back with a newfound sense of appreciation to the capacity of 13 Palm Trees, because each one of us is creatively pursuing our own fervor, and we each do it in our own way, and we each come to knowledge of things, and I think that creates a lot of diversity and skill that is becoming a huge asset for our company.
That, and I definitely think this will reinforce just the absurd lack of maturity that we have as a group.
Yep.
That's very true.
I would highlight that as well.
If you've listened to any of the shows that any of us are, other than like post-game content, I think, because you guys do get a little bit immature sometimes, but like
It's
D&D,
become a running joke in that show to tell the audience to fuck off in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's fair. But like D&D, since which is
seems
something
rude.
that we're all involved with, we're pretty much all very immature.
Yeah, especially for episode 1 of the show. If you're coming to the show, you've likely listened to something that we've all done, and you're probably just nodding your head, going, "Yeah, I'm ready. Bring me the immaturity. We won't disappoint."
Yes.
Right? I'm fucking immature as they come.
Now
So,
it's time to ski.
I hate.
Oh,
this.
sorry.
Now it's time
This
to
is-
ski. I gotta go, guys. Peace out.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I'll be at your house in like 45 minutes to give you
Yeah,
yours.
I'm not
Don't
mad
worry.
at what I just saw. I'm mad because I'm not included.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
I'm
he's
coming
like,
out
"I
there
gotta-"
after this. You
He's like,
cool.
I gotta go, guys, and his camera turns off, and you just hear.
He pops right in. No, I literally enter the room like I'm there.
Somebody making mac and cheese somewhere?
Right.
Oh my
Gotta be
goodness.
good.
Yeah.
So, Michael,
I wanna
you were
say-
asked, what are you working on?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on right
Wow,
now.
that's
and,
super interesting.
That's cool. Oh God. So, what's kind of afforded us the ability to do the show is, if you can kind of see, we are in this new studio. Obviously, you've probably heard rumblings of it for the last, I don't know how long. We've test ran the studio in my basement. We test ran a studio that was down the street, and that was fucking terrible.
It was a shared space. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, and audio was crap in there. So we just got
No ventilation.
What's up?
No ventilation.
Yes, which is
Yeah.
a must.
Which is
With
a
this
primary
guy.
necessity
Which
when in
was
close
bad.
proximity to Jed.
Bad. Bad.
So we got to tell this story of this is probably like episode like 40-ish of D&D, because it was probably just a few
Was it?
episodes
This was
back.
at the old studio, right?
the one that
base
was the shared
downstairs.
space.
Yeah.
No.
No, this
Oh.
was the shared space that I showed up with the.
That's not the story I'm telling.
Oh,
So we all show up, and we're halfway through the session, and it's customary that we order some food, because we're all together for like 6, 7, 8 hours, and like Jed orders some Little Caesars pizza, and then he leaves to walk down to the gas station and comes back with like strawberry milk, a Monster, and Slim Jims.
not
Eats-
just Slim Jims.
what kind of?
They were Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jims.
And there were 3 of them. Is that what you were?
There were
doing, Daniel?
multiple.
No.
Yeah,
We're saying the big ones.
Oh,
yeah,
it was
they were-
like
they
it
were
was a
thick.
fat bratwurst sausage of a Slim Jim.
it was thick.
Yeah.
It was thick.
Well,
It was a
regardless,
big-
About
he,
two
sauce.
2 feet long.
he eats like 4 pieces of pizza, drinks the Monster, drinks the strawberry milk, and then eats the Slim Jim. And like he's obviously just starts having terrible gas.
I
and
might
he's-
have also been drinking alcohol.
Oh, well, right.
Oh,
That's customary as well.
Yeah, that's a given.
But that's not even the obviously terrible gas, him having to poop himself. The worst part about it, and the funniest part of this, is he has the audacity to sit there and go, "Oh, my IBS." And it's like, motherfucker, that is not IBS. Like, anyone would have IBS after eating that.
By definition, it is IBS. In that particular scenario, there were probably other factors that you could point to. Maybe a few.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
All that to say, we are very happy to have a space that has ventilation, a big open room. So whenever he decides to do stuff like that, and he, if you're listening to this in audio form, I mean Jed, obviously, we can either disperse or it will just go away eventually.
In a much quicker fashion.
Yes, in a much quicker fashion.
Just
That-
like Daniel's will to live.
Yes, that left like seconds after
I
I
was
was
going
born.
to say that dispersed long ago, Jen.
Why won't this baby cry?
I'm already dead inside.
But
It's
So
really
we're in-
bad. It's really bad me being in front of my computer during one of these podcasts because I'm over here Googling the atomic weight of methane versus oxygen. And I was like, well, at least in a bigger room, the methane would raise.
See, there we
rise, rather.
go. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm just picturing that gif where like the Simpsons, where he's like in the car and rolls down the window and he's like, "Nerd!" The dude's walking by. Thanks, Jed.
Yes.
That was probably the most valuable contribution you've made to this podcast thus far.
We're not doing the deep editing like I do for Jesus Christ.
It
Wow.
doesn't matter which hole it
Oh,
comes
that's-
out of.
Dang.
It is awful.
I had mushroom steak before I came here.
Oh, I could smell
Mushroom
it. I
steak?
could smell the
Yeah.
steak.
It would be really, really weird if I smelled it too.
Mhm. That would be very weird. When are they going to create smell-o-vision? Wasn't that like a thing like in the 90s that they were talking about or something? I don't know.
So other things that we're doing.
What porn are you into?
It's the scratch and sniff kind. I get the magazines, the porn magazines that are scratch and sniff. They're fantastic.
13 palm trees. Now with smells.
As Ryan said in the beginning of this, we are all innovators.
right.
Smell-o-vision coming soon from the Party Blurter.
All of my YouTube videos will have smell-o-vision.
Guarantee
If you like
Elon
this-
will drop a couple million on that.
If you like the smell of depression, please tune in.
You should
I hate
back her.
this.
You should back Daniel. The party or Patreon. But what's that? Kickstarter.com/the party barter.
Yeah, I'll have to get one going.
The smell-o-vision.
It's just a TV with like the glass taken out, and it's just somebody's ass just sticking through the TV.
If
Wow, I just
Anyone
thought
out
like,
there with Photoshop skills, hit us up.
I wonder
We'll
if
share
our
it on
viewers-
social media.
I wonder how many of our viewers don't have never encountered a glass like
Like a tube
Like a
TV,
like an
CRT?
old
a-
tube CRT TV. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
hate that.
If you haven't, let us know.
think about that.
don't, I don't want to talk to the people.
We'll find one and mail it to you. We could probably get it cheap at the dump.
You actually can't. They're really expensive now
I figured they probably like
Yeah.
the
because
ones
of
that are
the,
still working.
The
yeah.
materials that are inside of them,
Oh,
or,
yeah.
or I'm not. Okay,
They're also-
let's move on from
Yeah,
this.
let's-
This
yeah,
is
let's-
not entertaining.
Well, that's because it's coming
Maybe
from you,
not.
but
But other things that we have in the studio now, we have a nice lobby area, so we can start hosting some like game nights.
Why
And
don't you talk to the people, Michael?
I am talking to the people, talking to you.
I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Well, you don't ever pay attention, so I have to constantly maintain eye contact with you for you to make it seem like you're paying attention. Yeah, we have a lobby with a TV and some chairs, so we can start doing like game nights and stuff. But we also have our soundproof room back here with some of our equipment. So some of the things that we do here, we'll obviously record our podcast, record video podcasts. Most of the shows are recorded here, if not all of them now. And then we also do photography. We have a Ryan's horror booth set up for eventually he's going to kick off his Final Girl video show here. We have a streaming area for people that want to, come down here and play games and stream and things like that. That will kick off as well in the coming future. Just all kinds of plans for the space. It's pretty darn big.
You know what we should do? We have a lobby right on the other side of this wall. We could have a game night there.
That is a wonderful, completely independent idea
Wow.
that you had.
Jed comes up with ideas. Crazy.
I know.
It's great. We should probably do podcasts in here too. That would like really validate the
Or
use of the
professional
space.
photography.
We could probably do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Can you get him the fuck out of here? Who invited him onto the show? But a couple of the things that I'm working on, obviously I'm working both, I have 2 jobs right now, working both of those, taking care of the family and whatnot. But more importantly than family is our
Literally anything else.
the new project that we have recently kicked off, probably I should say it's the newest podcast, but there's been 2 more launched after it. It's post-game content. It's been fun. Max, who eventually we'll have on the show, hopefully, is a friend of mine that I met through work when I was with the Department of Commerce, and we do like deep dives into video games in just one game, and it's usually about a 2.5 to 3 hour conversation every episode. We only release 1 episode a month, and we've seen like huge numbers, especially lately. The last episode had just like we were hitting like 500 to 600 listeners a day, which is huge.
And you're
Cool.
talking?
Unfortunately,
Wow.
Yeah. A lot
Fortunately.
of people out there that really like this. In case anyone's wondering, at the beginning of this show, when Ryan was talking about how we each bring like individual creative talents to this podcast, Jed was an asterisk in that because he literally has provided no.
No, absolutely not. I will take absolute credit for I am the bar lower. Right? I make sure that I keep the bar as low as possible.
Yeah, really.
That way
if it
nobody
wasn't for
thinks
Jed,
too highly of themselves.
If it wasn't for Jed, none of us would realize how much we've done.
Yeah. That's my contribution. I gotta motivate everybody by putting in as little effort as possible and also criticizing everything that everyone does so that they feel terribly about themselves.
Well, I mean, we all did that anyway. We didn't really need your help doing that. Other than that, if in case anyone watching doesn't know some of the other roles that I have around here, I'm essentially just like coordinating.
like
What
dinner
happens?
rolls, Hawaiian rolls,
Sign me
I'm
up.
fat.
your
I get it.
roles.
Okay. Jeez.
Synonym roles.
cinnamon rolls.
But just kind of coordinating the studio use. If anyone's in the area that needs to use the studio, I'm the one that runs down and takes care of that. Depending on what show it is. setting things up for like the Super Nintendo Bros podcast or the Final Girl podcast, or sometimes I'll come down and help Daniel get ready for Wasted local fantasy football if need be. Obviously, I'm down here recording post game content. And then if we ever record D&D Kinda again, we'll record that here as well.
In summary, Michael is a professional cat herder.
God, that is super accurate.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's wondering, the reason that we haven't recorded D&D Kinda in a while is because
Fucking Josh.
Josh decided to move to
You
Colorado.
fucking piece of shit.
And out of everybody on the podcast, he is the one person that is incapable of setting up any audio equipment. So it's been
Or
very
managing
difficult.
technology.
There's a pretty strong tie between Jed and Josh there.
Jed-
Mine is an unwillingness to.
That's fair.
I'm really not willing to give you that much credit.
But here's the thing is like, you don't have to because you can just come down here.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you were to
Yeah.
move, I trust you to learn it
You put a lot of trust in me.
Listen,
because I would force you.
I'd
Yeah.
probably just pay someone.
Exactly.
To just do
See,
it.
either way, it's
the
gonna
other
be
night, me, Daniel, and Jed were in a Discord call, and Jed was like talking about a project that's upcoming. We'll talk about that in the future. But he's
Oh, we
like,
can't talk about that today? I was going to talk about that today. I wasn't going to give a lot of details, but
we can't talk about it later
We'll
whenever we get
tease
down to you.
okay.
Tease it.
But
All right,
because it's kind of your gig.
Oh,
But
no,
essentially,
I don't have any. I don't.
well,
have any
that's what I'm about to
creative
say.
ideas.
He's like, all right, Daniel, I'm going to need you to do this thing, and I'm going to need you to do all of it, and I don't want to do any work, so don't ask me to do any of it because I'm not going to do it. But I want
Name
you to
your
do
price.
everything.
Yep.
You just tell me what I need to do to make it happen and how much you want, and I want no part of it.
That being said,
That's Jed in a nutshell.
I now own a quarter of his property. So
What a
You
deal.
can go. You can go sleep with the dogs out in the doghouse.
it's fine.
You and Rooster.
It's
Duke.
fine. Duke slept in my bed anyway whenever I lived with you. So
That's true.
I forgot about
he's
you.
the goodest boy.
The fart smell will only intensify.
Yeah.
Wait, did you guys hear Jed got a new dog? Another new
Another
dog?
one?
Yeah, yeah.
How many does that make now? 73?
That I personally have, or that live on my property.
That live
Oh my God, what?
property.
7 on my property.
Holy mother.
Seven dogs live on the property, and 6 cats.
Jeez,
Jeez.
your cat's triple or like doubled.
Yeah. Well, my
That's what
cousin
cats
moved
do.
in, and she has
That's true.
a dog of her own and 2 cats. And then when we moved in, there was just a cat that just lived at the house.
In the house?
That's a lot of animals.
No, outside.
Oh.
She just was there, and I was like, I guess we have to feed her now. And technically, we also have this family of possums that is brave
Awesome.
enough to come around the house, and like they're just pretty much always there. You just run into them sometimes in the parking lot, or like sometimes I'll be walking up the driveway or the steps leading up to the house, and one of them will just go flying off the side of the porch.
Possums are,
That's
are
awesome.
Exciting.
awesome. I'm a huge proponent of possums.
Yeah, same.
Awesome possum.
I like marsupials of all varieties.
Yeah, especially possums. They eat a large amount of mosquitoes in their larval form. So
You have Google.
more possums.
He's still over there just go, possums.
Fact
What
check
do we
it.
need?
American opossums are marsupials, right? I'm saying that. I
I
think
don't
I'm saying
know.
that right.
I'm
There's not a
honestly
lot of
not
We're
really-
really
marsupials.
getting off topic again.
Not a lot of marsupials that exist in the world. Fact check me on that, Ryan.
I'm not even Googling right now. Sorry, Ben.
Don't make me take my phone out.
I'm petting my wiener.
This is, again, do you hear that? Jed wants to know something. So he's telling Ryan, Google this for me. Don't make me take my phone out. Please do this for me so I don't have
Because
to.
Ryan can Google it and nobody's going to know any difference.
You're going to have to pull out your phone anyway to send him money for doing it for you.
That's right. I'll
Hey,
invoice you.
Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
What's up?
I think I'm the only one that caught that comment.
Oh, I
that you
know.
just said.
Yep.
Please show us your wiener.
All right. Here, I'll get my wiener.
What?
He's stroking his
What's
wiener.
happening?
He's stroking his wiener.
His wiener.
Oh,
look at that
My
wiener. I wonder where the wiener is above us right now.
I don't know.
Are you just making the dog float around?
It could be anywhere.
I'm trying to catch
Close your eyes and I'll show.
Now I want a corn dog.
Of course you do.
Oh.
Of course you do.
So that's enough about that was an awful tangent. What do you do, Daniel?
Real quick before we move on to Daniel,
Oh, great.
I just had an idea. We have all that space out there in the lobby. What if we hosted game nights out there?
It's a terrible idea.
That's fair.
Awful, awful idea.
Well, I think it's a good idea, but you said we, implying you'd be involved, so it's a terrible idea, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Just assume that
When Jed
when I
says
use that
we-
word, I basically just mean y'all.
Jed's like, we can
Not me.
share
I wanna-
shouldering the responsibility, and you can do
I want
my
to call
part.
you on the phone, and I want to tell you I have 5 minutes to talk, and then I want to spend 45 minutes telling you about sick ideas, and I never want to follow through
See,
on them.
when I say we, right, what I actually mean by that is we, as I use it, is a conjunction of the words not me and you. So specifically, I mean not me, you.
Okay. Those are your preferred pronouns.
Yeah. That's actually, I like that. I don't think I can put that on my work profile.
Not me.
that on your
you
signature.
I think that'll get me sent to HR pretty quick. But
all. Oh, man. So, Daniel, what do you do?
Nothing.
I know.
so my next
I wanted
project.
you to admit it in front of the camera.
I just did. No, I'm doing my YouTube stuff, and that's a part of what we're doing here now
What's that
too.
channel called?
The Party Blurter.
Hmm.
Yes, on YouTube. And
Do you have a Patreon?
no, not anymore.
Well, God damn it! I was
Yes.
trying to plug you, and you don't have a.
Well,
fucking
I don't have my
Patreon?
personal Patreon. We've got the 13 Palm Trees Patreon.
We're all
Patreon.
one unit now.
Yes,
Everything falls under our big
Yes.
old unit.
yes. I've deactivated my personal one.
Can
and
we
we're-
put one big unit up here, please?
One
Hold on.
Thank you.
big unit. Yeah, nice try.
Ryan, where's your wiener?
I'm going to edit it to make it look bigger. Come on.
Next time someone asks me that, I'm going to be confused about which one and actually show you my dick.
I don't know if your camera has resolution to go down that small.
I'll have to get the telescope out.
Telescope. Where's your dick? The moon?
It's in space.
You mean a microscope?
It's out of this world.
No, it really is that small. You need a telescope.
Yeah, you actually use the telescope and you look into the microscope with the telescope, and that's how you see it.
You
I
look
think
at
that's
it-
how you go blind.
You turn it backwards. Just flip it around.
Maybe that's how Lily will figure out Inception.
It's not ever happening. Don't you give him way too much credit.
Oh man.
So what do you do on this?
Yeah.
The farty blurter.
Well, I'm going to give a 3-word answer because inevitably I'm going to be interrupted. Talking about wieners and things. No, I do gameplay videos, and that's about it on there.
That was way more than 3 words.
Yeah, can you fucking count? I don't think we had it on recording at that point, but do you remember whenever earlier he was like, "Are you going to embarrass yourself again trying to count to 3, Michael?"
I grew up with this. You think this phases me?
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been friends with you for how long? Or sorry, I've been pretending to be friends with you for how long?
See,
Far
I knew that we would get off topic. So
That was
Go
your
on,
own fault because
go
you're
on.
like, "I'm only going to say 3 words so we don't get off topic."
You jinxed us. This is your fault.
There's 11
that's
words.
fine. It's fine. But no, the YouTube stuff. And I've been learning to do video editing so I can do edits for any of the video projects that we're going to do. I've got the audio work that I'm going to be doing for what Jed will talk to you about, as well as whenever anything kind of crops up that Michael doesn't or know how to do with audio. If something's messed up, he sends it to me, which I then promptly send over to my friend Eric, because typically it's something that I don't have the plugins to fix, but I do try. But the audio work and video stuff, and then Wasted Local Fantasy Football that runs for 16 weeks each year. We're trying out the new video format for that this year as well. So if you've been watching, you could kind of see the progression of like how it's gone from like really bad to decent. So we're working on that. We're getting that down. So I'm trying to learn videography and video editing so I can get into that. So for anybody that wants to do video podcasts here, I'll be able to handle that workload as well. And
You can
of
handle
course-
your unit.
Yes, I can. If you have
One big
One
unit.
big unit.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you know, I have ideas that I want to do as far as video side, but I haven't really been wanting to start another podcast, but I haven't figured out what I want to do yet. But I'm eventually gonna get into it.
Once you move up to Fairmont.
Yes, I'll be moving to Fairmont soon, hopefully. since I just started a new job. So
You know what you should do
excited about that.
as a 30-something-year-old white man is you should start an opinion-based podcast.
No, no.
He's already got a. He's
That's
already
a
working
that's
for
an
a
open
podcast.
market right there. Hardly anybody does that.
Yeah, nobody does that. Nobody at all.
You're what, like 36?
Yes.
You need to get started because if you're just now getting into podcasting, you only have like a 4-year stretch to move on to woodworking or smoking meats.
Listen,
Like you don't have
I
have a
already have
long time.
experience in woodworking, so there's that.
Oh, you did that first.
Yes, I did that
What a
first.
prodigy.
Yes. I've never actually
man's
smoked
insane.
meat. I've
Stroked meat.
stroked meat, but never smoked meat. And I've actually cooked my fair share of pork butts, surprisingly. So
Look at Jed's face, like frantically searching for a joke in there.
Yeah.
Like he's like,
I'm just trying to figure out if that's a sexual innuendo.
no,
if you're
no,
just
like
being
legit,
serious.
like
You
actually
just smoke
cooking.
pork butts. Oh, okay.
Drew and I had cooked a bunch of pork butts at the cafe. So yeah,
Pork butts are good.
a lot of fun. They do be delish. But
I can't ever not think of cow and chicken whenever, like, I know what a pork butt is, and I know that it's not
There's
just
no
a
pig
literal
and cow and
like
chicken.
pork's butt.
I don't
But-
know. I don't know what brought me to this the other day, but it was just the other day I thought about cow and chicken, and there was this one line I just can't get it out of my head where cow goes mock kitty bath and then starts to lick chicken. Like it was doing a mock kitty bath. You know, like kittens give each other baths where they lick each
yeah.
other. So he's like, let's do a mock kitty bath. It's like, just let me lick you. So cow and
There's
chicken.
like 3 people in this world that if they were to say mock kitty bath and lick someone, I wouldn't find it weird, and he is one of them.
that's fair.
Ryan Wilfong is one of them.
That is so true.
So I'll just say the most like random off the wall shit that makes you either think for about 5
And then
seconds.
lick you? Is that a frequent happening?
That's not the weird part in there. That's the
We just got over a global pandemic. Like, you can't just be licking strangers. Like,
Yeah,
You can't
king
just
is
be-
actually a form of assault now.
people out here triple vax thinking they can just go wild. Like, I'm unstoppable.
Every time somebody mentions like any kind of like licking and stuff, I just go back to whenever the pandemic started and the CDC released that whole segment in
oh
their
my gosh.
in like the guidelines about eating ass. And it just cracks me up to think about. They legit, it was like a guideline to eating
That is
ass during the pandemic. And it's
100%
just like,
real. Talking about like oral
So you had to take your mask and like put it up over the top of your face,
No,
Cut a-
Vanessa.
cut a
No.
little breathing hole
what
for
they
your
what they
nose.
recommended you to do is take a piece of transfer paper and like, you know, you do like the pencils on the butthole to get a nice little
Like a fucking treasure
little
hunter.
shape. You know, so then you transfer that to your mask so you can kind of like make the little slits where the butthole is so your tongue just
Indiana
Right through that.
Jones and the Last Crusade.
They have that company where you can like they send you the mold and you just like sit on it and like push it into your butthole and you send them back the mold and they make
the
molds,
chocolates.
the chocolate buttholes.
Chocolate buttholes, yeah.
Can I tell a dirty story? Can we do that on this?
I mean,
This is an open forum.
all right. So
All right. Anyway, so moving on.
You know what'd be
Literally
great?
anything. Else.
you know what would be great? If in the front room.
there's a lobby out there.
Yeah, there is.
We should host a game.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
night. Yeah.
We're
What a
never
great
hosting
idea.
fucking game night in the studio now.
I'm actually now turned off to the idea.
Right.
So talking about molding your ass, right? So my buddy that I was in the Navy with,
Oh God, a Dr. Kelso story.
so he was on a boat, right, out in the Pacific over I'm not going to say where, but so whenever you're in the military, you have to do like regular inspections of your berthings and everything. They're called health and comforts. And so they come through and they basically check to see like if you're not supposed to have alcohol, you know, do you have alcohol? Do you have hot plates to cook your food? Shit like that, right? So he had been on watch and he was coming off watch and they were doing a health and comfort of his berthing. And I can't tell the story perfectly because like I wasn't there, but on the water fountain of their berthing where they got all of their drinking water was just this silicone ass called the Mega Hipper. And it was like a fleshlight ass. And the guys that were doing the inspection found it and they were like, that's contraband. Like, we have to confiscate that. You can't have that. I don't know why, but they decided so that they didn't
They
have to
wanted it
hold
for
it.
themselves.
They put it on the fucking water fountain.
Oh,
So
why?
this silicone fuckable ass mold was just chilling on everybody's water fountain. So, yeah, happy
So I'm
Veterans
thirsty.
Day. Yeah,
that
and that's
has two meanings.
that's my contribution for the day.
Grabs drink.
Just drink it up, fellas. Drink it up.
Why'd you have to so loosely suck on that straw?
Told
Because
you
he
I'm
so
thirsty.
loosely sucks on everything.
That's how the CDC recommends
I
you
learned
to
that
drink
from
out of
your
a straw.
mother.
Tammy.
Tammy, oh no, Tammy.
God, the D&D kind of Tammy jokes.
Oh man,
They will live forever.
I need to go back and listen to the D&D kind of outtakes again. It's been so long since I've listened to those. There was some gold in there.
You should
The
post them to
Bear
the
Jism
Discord.
It really
They're
is some golden.
Patreon exclusives. I
You
can't
should
just-
post a sample to the Discord.
Oh, we could. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because like I don't know if I'm
There's
assuming
good
everyone,
stuff in
the listeners and everyone in here has like you guys have iPhones, so
Yeah.
like you know how
If
like
you're cool.
in CarPlay in your car it has like the all like if you go to your podcast it'll have all like the ones you need to listen to. Well, if you listen to all of them, it'll just kind of like they'll just kind of go off the list and it'll bring up the next one to the top. Well, mine, there was like a stint to where I'd already listened to everything, and like the first day it came out. So now it was just like going down through listening to the last like 5 or 10 seconds of all the things that I still needed to listen to. And then it was like, I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to let them play to get them off the list. And then it like, one of them like ended some like outro music for a podcast. And then it went in and it was like, boom, soft pecker. like a song that Daniel had made for the D&D guide.
Soft pecker.
Like this is super inappropriate NFSW song that was on the Patreon.
Were all the kids in the car?
No, it was
Okay.
I was sitting in a drive-through like the line, and then I was just by myself, and it was like boom, soft pecker, and then Jed's like fuck me, soft pecker.
Listen, one of my favorite things that happens at conventions is like when a fan, I guess it feels weird saying that, a fan will come up, right, and like ask about the show or want to listen to the show and want information about the show, and especially if it's like I can't tell if this person is underage or not and their parents are with them, I usually will say something to the parents along the lines of like, hey, FYI, this is a adult podcast, so
Very
there's some
explicit.
there's some explicit content on there, just so you know. And they're always like, no, it's fine. She's 14, he's 15, whatever, they'll be fine. And then I'm just like, I feel like there's no way possible that they don't click on an episode that just immediately starts with us being like, so I'm fucking somebody in the butt.
Yeah, whatever we say not safe for work, it's like beyond not
Yeah.
safe for work and
Like,
a
it's
lot
not-
of this stuff.
yeah.
The episodes are NSFW. The
Well, the outtakes,
Patreon content is where you can get into some trouble.
I don't know. I mean, it's all fairly vulgar.
I'm
at
not
times.
saying it's not vulgar. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like it doesn't go beyond NSFW tagging. Like it's explicit for
yeah, it's
sure,
definitely
but it doesn't
explicit, yes.
go that far.
Yeah, we're
I
really
mean, I
not
know that
breaking any
if-
laws.
If I had a child, right, that was under the age of 16, I probably wouldn't let them listen to a show or watch a show that involves somebody who has necrophilia trying to kill people and then fuck them afterwards.
That's fair.
But
Hey, you're gonna
listen.
unkill them afterwards.
if you're watching TV at late night and you stumble upon a show, there's some like softcore stuff in there. But guess what? Just like our Patreon content, if you pay for HBO, you're going to see titties. Okay,
That's fair.
So you're going to get the hard shit.
Wait,
if you
there's
pay for
titties
the
on our
hard shit.
Patreon?
but I'm just saying I can't
There are not
look
titties on our Patreon yet.
I can't look a parent in the eyes and be like, "Oh yeah, this is fine. Listen to this."
No,
Recommend
for sure, absolutely.
No,
To be
no
fair,
way.
though,
Yeah.
our shows, actually all of them, regardless of which one it is, has the explicit tag on it.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have that if you drop
If
an
you
F-bomb.
cuss, yeah.
Which,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it all you have
So-
to have it.
long story short, if you want to see titties, get HBO Max.
Yeah, that's really the
13
the
Palm
key
Trees
takeaway.
I
Max
don't know.
coming to markets near you.
I don't.
You know what we could do
I like that actually. That's
Is-
really cool.
we could do HBO Max watch parties from the lobby of the studio.
Oh man, can we involve games somehow?
We could play games too.
Sweet.
Dude, could we do that out
Okay.
there in the lobby?
In the lobby.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
We should get a popcorn machine. for the
Speaking of
lobby.
which, I'm gonna bring. I keep forgetting about it, but I have the Super Nintendo that keep meaning to bring down.
The idea is to have like one of
Yeah.
every console in there, so
Yeah.
we could just host whatever we want, and then eventually get like 2 TVs, and then set them back to back, and then do like Halo parties as a service,
Like a LAN
and like
party.
advertise it at the college and things like that. Just be like, hey, LAN party, come down. We'll even film you. We'll make montage videos, all that kind of stuff for
Do
like.
people still play Halo
I was looking for this. I'm actually
other than Ryan?
I built a little Raspberry Pi that has like every game console you want on it.
What does
Oh, that'd be
baked
sick.
goods
That would
have
be
to
dope.
do with this?
You've never heard of Raspberry Pi?
Oh no, Daniel. Oh,
I know what it is. I'm asking him if he's being
I
serious. or
know.
not.
That's why
Yeah. I mean, Jed's pretty fucking stupid, so
that's
it's
a
hard to
good
tell.
point. I sympathize with you now.
That's fair.
Jed circulates that market, but God, is he dumb?
I even think I have some like retro controllers that I haven't even used because I got like 3 or 4 of those Raspberry Pis at once a few years ago and built a few of those consoles for people. And I think I have one still on hand that you're not going to use
God,
that.
I'm hungry now.
That would be dope.
Yeah, bring him in. I love security issues.
Anyway, I'm glad.
Shouldn't be network connected.
Fair.
Anyway, enough of the
Amazing.
illegal talk. Yeah.
Oh, hey, real quick, because I just had to tell my dad about this the other day. Speaking of security issues, I'm going to give a solid word of advice for people here. All right. Don't use fucking hotel Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi anywhere. And if you have to, don't log into your fucking bank account. Don't do that. That's really bad.
That's dumb.
Very bad. Don't do that. Dad.
The more you know. Tune in next month for more completely obvious advice from Jed.
Jed's obvious corner.
Also, more solid advice. If you get a hemorrhoid, you can do what I call a double whammy. So you can use the suppository, stick it up your butt, and then get the hemorrhoid wipe, put the hemorrhoid cream on the wipe, and then wedge it up in there after the suppository. And it'll clear that thing up in like 17 hours.
And then you bounce around it on a bicycle for 6.5 hours. That solves
And
the
it comes
problem.
right back.
Oh, good Lord. That was graphic. Did you also learn that in your recent cybersecurity awareness training?
Like, I don't know what this has to do with computers, but all right, here I go.
I think I clicked on the wrong training course.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, we don't have to go to Jed to see what he's been doing. So, you know.
Well, we would have to ask him what he's been doing because he's not involved in anything we are doing. So,
Well, we already found out though. He's triple stacking hemorrhoid cream.
damn, what an one absolute unit.
We should just get a sponsor, Preparation H. Just like-
We're gonna need that. We're all getting old, man. I'm sure shit that and like Roman.
I've only
Blue Chew.
shit myself twice this week. Jeez.
What does that have to do with hemorrhoids?
I probably have them. I just don't know the difference.
You just can't tell the pain from all the other pain that you have.
Yeah, I just look at the blood in the toilet and I'm like, yeah, that's a.
Bright red is okay. Dark red or black, bad.
Actually, if you use Pepto-Bismol, you can have black poop, and it's not to be a concern.
Yeah. But if
Is
it's
the
bloody
bismuth-
and it's dark, viscous blood, that means
we're moving on. It's
coming from the
If you
upper
eat
GI
Fruit Loops, it
tract.
turns green.
No, that really honestly is like good common medical knowledge to know.
It does.
Like if you ever do shit blood, like the brighter red it is, the better of a sign that is. If
Yep.
it's really dark red, it is not a good sign.
Or if it looks like coffee
Honestly,
grounds.
don't like. I think just if you're out there and you're pooping blood, I don't care what color it is. Go to the doctor. Like you should just go to the doctor.
That's
Another Jet story coming in hot for you here. So
Oh, great.
I was a corpsman when I was in the Navy, right? So I was a combat medic.
You're a
So
porn man?
porn man. Yeah, so I was a porn man in the Navy.
He gives them the
Anyway,
throttle
none of
jack
that
off.
is important. I did medical shit whenever I was in the Navy. So I was at Lejeune, Marine Corps Camp Lejeune, and I was at the School of Infantry. And so I was the company corpsman for one of the companies there. And one of the things that I would do is at the end of the day, I would go around and I would do what we called nightly triage, where you go around and you basically put eyes on and talk to all of your kids and just ask them, are you fucked up, basically. So this one kid, like, he's super embarrassed and he's like, hey, doc, can I talk to you in private? I'm like, yeah, man, absolutely. So we go talk in private and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, no worries. What's up? He's like, well, I've been shitting blood. I'm like, all right. That's not really that big of a deal. Like, it's, we're out here in the field. Y'all are eating MREs. So whatever. When did you first notice it? And he's like, whenever we first picked up. I'm like, motherfucker, that was 3.5 fucking weeks ago. You've been shitting blood for almost a month and you just now thought to say something to me about it? He's like, I just figured it would go away. So yeah, if you start shitting actual blood out of your ass, go to the doctor, please.
There's no better conclusion to that story.
No. I mean, I can't say much because of patient privacy, but no, just go to the doctor.
I just was expecting something funny. Now I'm just sad for this guy.
I think the worst part about that, other than the fact that he was shitting blood, is that he had to put his trust in you.
Yeah.
We have all learned a hard lesson there.
Yeah.
So.
He still regrets it to this day.
Yeah.
Everybody always thinks, like, as a person who was in the military, like, everybody always on the outside is always like, heroes, first line of defense. They're the best. The only amazing quality that people in the military have is that they're able to get fucking absolutely shithouse drunk every single weekend, sometimes on weekdays, and recover and be able to be a semi-professional person in like a matter of hours, or even still drunk.
That, be able to bitch about how no money that they have and somehow get out of the military and buy a Dodge Charger
at 27% interest.
Exactly.
27. Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay, I'm gonna stop telling military stories
Holy
at some point.
shit.
I had this one guy. I hope he's watching. Dale Deacon, you motherfucker. So he had this little car, right? And we had all gotten trucks, and it was like one of those dick measuring contests, very clearly. And so
Dead
he
lost, obviously.
goes out and buys a truck, and he shows up, and we're all giving him shit for it because it was a 2-wheel drive truck. And so, like, we're giving him shit for that, but we're like, trying not to be too mean. And he's like, yeah, my payment is a lot higher than it was before. It's like double. And we're all sitting there like doing math in our heads. And we're like, how the fuck how'd you double your payment? Like, what was your interest rate? 32%.
Wow.
Holy mother.
Yeah.
He's
so that's
paying
another
for
thing.
like 5 of those cars throughout the duration of that
Listen,
loan.
if you buy a
Seriously
vehicle
paying
within
5 of those cars.
If you buy a
What
vehicle
the
within
heck?
like a 10-mile radius of a military base, you are going to get reamed.
Wow.
I hate that. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
That's really shitty of the dealership.
Yeah.
Be like, that. I know that they have income. So
Oh man, like the other thing you
That's
see all
awful.
over near military bases is payday loans. Payday loans are just everywhere because you'll get these privates they get their $600 paycheck every 2 weeks, and then they immediately go out to the nearest titty bar and go spend it all on hookers and probably blow. But and then then
Our
they have
military, ladies and gentlemen.
then they have no money, right? And so they go down to MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, and they'll go get like handouts from MWR and try to get like food and shit if they can't get into the chow hall for free. But eventually they go down and get these payday loans because they don't have any money to last them until the next time they get paid. And so all these payday loans, when you walk in, the first thing they ask you is like, what's your rank? Because they know based on what your rank is, how much money you make. And so they'll be like, oh, we'll loan you out your paycheck. And, as long as you pay it back to us within this time frame, like you only pay whatever amount of interest or whatever. But they're just banking on the fact that you're not going to pay it. And then you end up paying like 70% interest. Like it actually recently, I think they can't do it anymore. I think it got
like fraud.
federally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's-
think the federal government cracked down on
Wait,
it.
are you
but-
telling? No, I'm not going to say that. That's getting too political.
You mean to tell me
The federal government.
that a shrimp fried that rice?
no, the federal government told them to stop so they could start doing it. Yeah.
So the military is the federal government.
No, I know, but they just set up their own. So
I mean,
no,
listen,
no
when you're
political. No,
when
no,
you're
no
in the
political.
military under the welfare wage line, getting food stamps, you're already getting fucked by the federal government. All right, they don't have to do anything.
That's fair.
They don't have to do anything.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of not
What
doing
were we
anything,
talking about
Jed,
again?
Yeah.
what do you do?
I don't know. It went from like butthole chocolates to this. So
Yeah, I got a fleshlight water fountain in there somewhere.
yeah.
I blacked out. Something about the lobby. I don't know.
We're having game night.
Oh man. Mm.
So what do you do, Jed? Why are you even here?
He's suddenly very silent. Like,
I don't know, man. Like I don't fucking know. If you have to pin that down to like what I do, who the fuck knows?
No one knows.
I don't know. I'm not creative.
We invited you here to try to figure that out.
I
This
don't
is
really contribute things.
Intervention.
Yeah,
One big intervention.
The sign that says the unit falls down and the intervention below it.
Oh man.
No, I mean, I don't know what I do, honestly. But one of the things that we are
occasionally
working
pays for
on,
shit when we don't feel like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have been working on, it's not really started yet. We've kind of like we're laying the groundwork for it, but good friend of mine, Chris. What's up, Chris?
Fuck you, Chris.
He's a longtime D&D player and listener of the show. And so me and him were just like chatting a couple weeks back, and I kind of was floating out the idea of what if we started another D&D kind of show. With Josh having moved away. Fuck you, Josh. It's become very difficult for us to get together and record. And, you know, I just honestly miss playing D&D with everybody because that was how I got into 13 Palm Trees was on the D&D side
That's
of the house.
how 13 Palm Trees started.
Daniel, wait your turn.
No.
Don't interrupt people.
How'd you guys do this game night in the lobby?
It's a good idea, man.
I don't even need to be here. That's spot on. But yeah, so my friend Chris is going to DM, and obviously I can't say a whole lot and give a lot of details away, but kind of the very general theme of the show is that it's going to be far more episodic than the Revelations campaign was. So it's going to focus more on like Monster Hunter type. What was the other like Witcher, like Monster of the Week type stuff where we're all going to kind of be bounty hunters or something along those lines and basically just go out on these individual missions. And I don't know, maybe there'll be an overarching theme at some point, but that's kind of the idea, is to have everything be a little bit less serious, a little bit more just fun and like goof offy than Revelations, where Revelations
Is that
was
even possible? Shit.
well, mostly the story, right? Not the way that we played it, because you know I will take anything I'm involved in.
It'll
and
actually be the exact
make a
opposite.
mockery out of it.
It'll be the exact opposite. It'll be a lot more serious gameplay, but more like, or a lot less serious gameplay, but less. Yeah, I forgot.
You're gone. You're
Yeah,
gone.
I lost it
It's
there.
gone. I
Game
watched
night,
it.
dude. We're really gonna have to do the game night now because like it's all
I will
we're talking
not
about.
let you
or we
pressure
just
me into this.
never
It's
do it
Stockholm Syndrome.
ever,
That's-
and we just constantly reference
Just
game night in the
constantly
lobby,
reference it.
and we just never actually have a game night in the lobby.
Or we pull
Yeah,
a real
so-
big one and do a game night in the back instead. Fuck them all.
Oh,
sideways.
In the
Shit.
back alley, game night in the back
Fucking-
alley.
Oh,
Playing
shit.
dice in the back alley.
As we speak, outside, probably 20 feet from this wall, there are people dealing coke under a bridge.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Coke's pretty high class for this area. I think it's more
fair.
like heroin or meth, but hey, you
Yeah.
know,
It's fair.
crack maybe.
Point being, let's not do anything in the back alley. Let's avoid that
I
area
for
at all.
sure meant the butthole, but
Remember the CDC guideline, okay?
No, Vanessa.
I'm ready to get mega hipper.
Die.
Somebody just come on in and mega hipper me.
We're getting
So
a water
anyway.
fountain installed tomorrow.
This podcast. Yeah, but it's the idea is that it's going to be like less. The story from episode to episode is not really the focus. The focus is more so on like the individual missions, whatever, bounties. I don't know. We haven't really nailed that down yet. And it's going to be a smaller cast than Revelations. So right now it's going to be me, my wife Jess, and Michael playing, and Chris DMing. And the idea that was it you that came up with the idea for recruiting people, or was that Chris?
That was two of us on a phone call.
Okay, yeah. So we kind of had an idea too that would be pretty cool to have like a job board for whatever we end up calling these whatever missions that we go on. And we'll be able to basically like hire help to come with us. And since we have a smaller crew starting out, that means that we could bring on like an additional person every once in a while for a guest spot on one of these missions that we go out on.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it could be from within 13 Palm Trees, could be from outside of 13 Palm Trees, could be fan based.
Yeah,
Patreon.
Patreon.
packages for each of the
Yep.
bounty boards, and you pay to be which one you want.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
maybe
we
like we could have people create
fun.
characters
That's what we
and then
talked about,
pay
like-
money like, you know, through Patreon, or like maybe we could even do like a vote or something. And like if
Yeah.
your submission gets enough votes, then like that's the guest character that will be played by one of us on one of the
Yeah,
episodes.
like every couple months we put that out there, or like the people within the company that are involved like could make these sheets, and then you make a character whatever level or anything like that, and we give it to Chris, and Chris can assign like a gold value, and then if we want one of those people to join us on the next party, we have to save up to be able to buy that person, that mercenary, to join us in that next adventure. So that way there's an actual risk reward for our characters, like to get these individuals in here. So that way, if we go out of our way and buy Daniel and he's a disappointment, we don't have to be upset because we paid 26 gold for him, as opposed to Hodor that we paid, 350 gold for, that's actually
mean-
going to contribute.
Why even pay for me? You already know that I'm going to be a disappointment.
Have we? Are you okay?
Are you familiar with kink shaming?
Sorry, I need to change my pants.
No, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Like I think it'd be
Yeah, I'm super excited for it, and I'm honestly just really excited to get back in and play and make more content. Because I miss playing. That's like the only thing that I actually contribute that's meaningful is sit behind a microphone and pretend to be someone else.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back
That's how I
to see my
live.
shrink before we start this again, because the thought of editing you for hours on end is already causing me to have anxiety.
Every second you talk, the dollar amount he's going to require per hour to do this work is going up and up
Yeah.
and up. Now, if you're out there and you're listening to this or watching this, and you're hearing us talk about this, and the only thing running into your head is those motherfuckers are starting a new D&D podcast, and they're
We're
not
still
fucking-
doing Revelation.
We're not fucking working on.
We're still doing Revelation. We're still doing Revelation.
We announced a while back that we are going to finish Revelation before we start releasing episodes again, because we realize that it's torture for us to put out these episodes that are like super well produced, have awesome production value, and are just like they absolutely like slap, and people are listening to them like, oh my God, I need more. And then we're like, hey, we don't
In
know when
6
we're back.
months, we'll give you another episode. Maybe.
Maybe.
You fucking idiot.
So that totally sucks. And
Keep listening.
We definitely understand that. So we're going to finish it out. We're going to get it done the way we want to get it done. And then we're going to release them on a bi-weekly schedule until we run out of episodes. So that way there's no more waiting, and we will let you know. So just for full transparency, we discuss like with, if you're not up to this point in the episodes yet, fast forward a little bit, but
Spoiler alert.
yeah. So with Benedict's character, him leaving, we talked about like the possibilities. Obviously, I'm not spoiling anything in the show, but just contextually, maybe talked about the potential of what do we do with this character? Do we bring in someone else? We didn't really want to do that. One, out of respect to Josh, because he's been Benedict since episode 3. I know that would also be the second time we've had to move on from a character and replace the same character. So we didn't really want to do it that way either. So we've been brainstorming and have thought of some like really good ways to, transfer that off. And but Josh is coming back into town here in a couple weeks, and we're kind of as soon as he nails down some dates, we're going to try to get a few days where we can just kind of spend a couple days in the studio and hang out.
Yeah, we're going to go down 20 feet that way and get some of that coke he was talking about. We're just going to bust out like a 72-hour D&D session.
Honestly, we tell Josh that he might come back soon.
That's true. We'll supply the coke, man. Just come down and we'll record.
There's a reason to move to Colorado.
I don't know if I can handle Hamilton on coke.
Goo! Puddin'.
But
pudding. Man, God, I miss playing that game.
Yeah, me too.
So
dude,
we're coming back. Also, that content is free. Fuck you. So, yeah. So I'm excited for D&D to be back. I'm excited.
Me too.
But that'll be cool to have like a new portion that involves some of the same people and wrapping up. Have Will Fong as a guest, or Daniel on as a guest, or even some of the other people who are in the background on as guests. I think that'd be really cool.
Well, and like one thing with the new show too that I was kind of hoping, we'll have to see how things go, but like my hope was, so with Revelation, we tried a couple of times to get you more involved, and we did, like we had some NPCs that were based on or created by
Chrysalix?
people that listen to the show. Yeah, Chrysalix, fuck that guy.
Chrysalix, Thrak,
yeah.
Scar.
Yeah.
There's another character you guys I've been trying to shove into your path, but you're just like, hey, fuck you. And like, you're just
let's put a bartender in a car.
but there's been quite a few. This bad boy can hold
This bad boy can fit so many bartenders in it. But no, like so we tried it a couple times with Revelation, and like it moderately successful, but the problem with that is that with Revelation, the story is the driving factor of the show. And so, we can't really modify it heavily on the fly. And one thing I'd really love to try to get out of this new show, because it is so much more episodic, is I'd love to get more fan involvement. Starting with the idea of like recruiting mercenaries and bounty hunters for hire that listeners of the show can submit or vote on or pay for or whatever. I don't really know what that looks like right now. But I'd love to try to get more fan involvement and almost like a choose your own adventure style of podcast where the listeners decide where we go next, what we do next, what's our next move, who do we bring with us? Maybe even like down to the weapons and the armor that we get to buy to take out with us. So I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. It's still very raw and undeveloped, but I'd really love to try to get more listener and fan involvement into the development of the show.
For sure. There's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of stuff that I've thought about that we haven't talked about yet, and I'm sure Jed's the same way. There's a lot of stuff I've messaged Chris on the side about, because while Chris has been DMing much longer than I have and has way more DM experience than I have, there's a certain Jed and I talked about this a little bit ago. There's a certain shift, because I'm more
stupid.
That very much so compared to Chris. But it's like you have to have a certain there's a lot of personality that goes into an episode. And I think Chris will be fine. He just has to find that voice, because this will be his first time podcasting.
Yeah.
So I think that that'll be fun to do. But I think that the core of that show will need to be the audience listening to it, and the Patreon involvement, things like that. So that's definitely something we'll want to keep core focus on, and we'll bring more to the table as we find out more about how that's going to go. So no real timeline on release either. We have some preliminary stuff we'd want to get done, but ultimately it's just going to be up to when we can get in the studio, when we can get it recorded, and there's just a lot of.
When are we going to put this out?
I don't know. We'll find out.
When do you think we might have it out?
Midnight.
No, not even close.
I mean, technically, he didn't specify what day.
Yeah,
that's fair. It will be at midnight.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It just depends.
You think before New Year's?
I'd like to get a few episodes done of the full podcast. Plus, we got to get the
Well,
podcast feed up and running, and then the artwork and all that stuff.
I'd
made
say
for
before New Year's we could get it up.
We
Because
gotta get
the idea
artwork.
for this show is that it's once a month. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
getting together to talk about stuff. There's not going to be a definite release schedule. It's going to be whenever, because like I don't want to if we set a release schedule for this episode on a particular day other than once a month. Let's say there's a big project that's upcoming and we have X day. If we record the day before, it'll be a month and a half till anyone hears about it. So the idea just
Yeah.
being, hey, when can everyone get together? When can we do this and just release it when we
Yeah.
can?
I think a lot of the first few episodes is going to be kind of just get to know everybody that's involved,
Yeah.
because there are people that
know you.
aren't on podcasts that are involved with 13 Palm Trees right now as well. So
Mhm.
people that get their
Mhm.
voices out there, get
Yeah, for sure.
introduce them to everybody and kind of explain what they do. So
What else do you do, Judd?
Well, real quick, assuming that this is out before New Year's, I want to try to have something from the new show out by New Year's. We'll see if we make that happen, but that's my personal
if we do,
goal.
it would be on Patreon.
The intros are going to go on Patreon? The teasers?
No, but I thought you meant what we did the other day.
No. I mean the intros for
Maybe,
our
yeah.
characters. The teaser.
We're gonna have to work together on that on the side.
Yeah. That's my goal.
you're
I
gonna
want to try to
need
get some teasers
artwork
out
and
by New Year's.
music and all this kind of
Jed's
stuff, man.
That's my
Like,
goal. I gotta scrounge up some money to make
I got to
it.
figure out how much money it's going to cost me.
Kick his delegation
happen.
into fifth gear.
One big episode. But no, what else do I do? Like outside of podcasting, or like because I really don't do much else for the show.
I mean,
We used to
Hamilton
do.
and D&D kinda like
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So I'm Hamilton. Yeah.
that's it.
he gives just as much of a shit about telling you about that he does about his character.
Okay, so I mean, I'll talk about my character a little bit. Yeah. So one of the things that I set out from the start with Hamilton was I feel like a lot of people probably do this, especially with their first character, because Hamilton was like my second character. But we had the Bard.
No, I know, but you were like, a lot of people do this with the first character, but Hamilton's my second.
Yeah, but the Bard that we made
Right.
for the birthday episode was it was like 2 hours, and I never played him ever again. So, but Hamilton was the first character that I ever spent a lot of time playing, and I wanted, we'd never done anything on recording podcast, and so I really wanted to try to make the character feel organic. I didn't want to have to try to act the character out. So if you don't like Hamilton, you'll probably fucking hate me.
I got news for you, Jed.
But yeah, so with that character, like I tried to make him in the beginning in a way that I felt like I wasn't gonna have to like really like play up a character to be able to be Hamilton, because I wanted it to come across as authentic. I didn't want it to come across as I don't know, inauthentic. I'm not coming up with a good word there. That's not just the same word.
Ryan, Google.
Ryan, Google.
They'll PayPal you $5 here in a minute.
Inauthentic.
Not genuine.
Yeah, ingenuine.
Yeah, there we go. Not genuine. There we go. There we go.
Ingenuine, yeah,
DM
there we go.
coming in clutch. You can't think of another word other than
Oh,
traverse,
yeah,
but you get- but I also, so the other thing with Hamilton that probably a lot of people don't know is that I was shoehorned like a midnight addition to the show.
Dude, yeah, that was
Like
last
I was
second.
not supposed to be on the show, and then did you ask me, or did you just tell me that you guys were thinking about doing that? And I was like, what if I show up? Because I'm pretty sure that's how
like that.
I think that's how it
It
happened.
was Zach's birthday.
Yeah.
And we went to
Yeah.
his house, and
So that's-
Ryan was there, and he had never even met Zach.
So that's actually why Benedict and I became half brothers, was because when I showed up, I was already drinking, and I really didn't want to be super creative about my character. So I was just like, well, fuck it. I'm your half brother. And my name's also Blumpkin Patch, because I'm never going to need to make a backstory to this ever, because this is just a one-time thing that I'm doing here. And we can be half brothers, even though we're not the same race, because it doesn't need to make sense.
Hey, I
And then
made
we
it
had to
make
make a whole backstory around it. And so, yeah, I was a super late minute shoehorn. and almost didn't make the cut for the show.
Which is great
So-
because now, just to ruin some of the magic for the show, now if you go back and listen to that first episode, notice there's like the 3 segments that happen, the big stories that were written, because those were actually written before we decided to do
Mhm.
Podcast.
a podcast.
Yep.
Those were written for the guys that night whenever we played.
Yeah.
So it was like, here's this big thing with Bartholomew and like this the whole thing with him and him up there with the scrolls and pre-jizz.
Oh,
and
the
then-
scrolls.
and then there's the whole thing with
13 palm trees.
that whole thing, and then there's your stuff with the
at
creature
the bar and
Yeah, and
Yep.
then the whole thing with Benedict and the
Yeah.
the creatures in his room, and then literally Hamilton is like an afterthought when he wakes up. Like
Yeah.
you don't even. He's just asleep in
It's
the
like-
room with him. So that's
which
why.
honestly, like looking down the line of like how things have played out, like that's pretty fucking spot on for how Hamilton would have been.
Yeah.
Like just sleeping it off. Like who cares?
Yeah.
So when Jed says, it's funny because like knowing Jed says, I wrote this character so I could be as authentic to him as possible and I could really stay connected to him. The only thing I'm hearing is I was as lazy as possible and I wanted to put as little effort into the character as I possibly could.
So
And it's a fan favorite, man. He's everybody's
so
favorite
I will
character.
say
True.
the one thing that I did kind of set out to do from the get-go with Hamilton was I kind of felt from the beginning that Bartholomew was very much like the straight man of the group. But then so is Topher.
Mhm.
And so they both played their characters very seriously and very straight. And Josh is Josh. So
That's fair. Josh kind of had it hard though because he had to come in.
he did. He had to
with
take
a
over someone else's
character that was
character
created.
that he didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
And he had never played D&D at all, like ever, even a little bit before he
Yeah,
joined the show.
Yeah.
But
it shows.
I definitely saw an opportunity there for, like, there was no comic relief. There was no chaotic character who was gonna, and it's like, when you play D&D, just for people out there, something that I've learned now, you don't, like, there's usually always, everybody wants to be chaotic all the time. So if you're
Yeah.
the one that's constantly being chaotic, it's probably unnecessary. But in our group, there was a lack of that chaos. And so that was kind of something that I set out from the very beginning was like, I'm gonna be the chaos. Like, I will embrace that and I will be the chaos.
He didn't act it either. The first session we like physically held, he showed up like,
Shithoused.
yeah, with like a stick that was like 7 foot tall. And, like,
We had
6
just
inches
listen.
thick.
We had
Pictures of
just.
that.
Oh man, let me paint a picture for everybody. All right, so
Oh my
like
gosh.
I had gone out hiking in overalls and like a hoodie or
That's
something. I
why
don't know, but
the
I'm
logo
like,
it was like a
has
long
you in
sleeve
overalls.
shirt.
yeah,
And like brown overalls.
sweaty
Yeah.
as fuck, stinking like a fucking elephant's ass, right? Shit housed on whiskey from the bar
Yeah.
that we went to after the hike. And I found a big ass stick in the woods. So I was like, I'm bringing this fucking stick. And my wife just dropped me off and was like, get the fuck out of the car. And so I roll up in
Serious
there.
problem now.
I rolled up in there with a 30 pack of day blazers,
Oh my
Dave
God, blazing the day. I forgot
blazing
about
the
that.
day,
And
and proceeded to just get shitty fucking drunk.
Does that mean he hates himself?
Our third out of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope, I'm gonna
Let's
say
just
something.
cut all of this out and make it seem
Thank
like
you.
I know what the fuck I'm doing.
This staff is great. Zach, can you please put that
Because
over somewhere? Get it away from Jeb.
And actually, now that I'm like thinking this back in my head,
just vaping into microphones the whole night.
now that I'm thinking this back in my head, I think the reason that I decided to take the route that I did with Hamilton was Zach was complete chaos. And
Oh,
so
he was
when
Obnoxiously chaotic.
yeah,
the first-
so
the
when
first session.
when Zach
Oh.
left and we brought in Josh, there was just no chaos. And it was like I saw a gap that could be filled there. And it just worked. Like it worked for the character. It worked. It ended up working really well. Just because of, Hamilton, how he was written in the beginning. And it
the
just
first time you've ever had success filling a gap.
Oof.
7 dogs,
kinda like-
Daniel.
You're right. You're right. But no, off of that, like that's why I always like in D&D kinda I always felt like, because Ryan, like Bartholomew, he's like, to me, viewing him as Topher, he's like, he is a part of this group, but there is something bigger that's more important that he's focused on. Hamilton, not so much. He's just out there to get boners from dead people.
No.
No, there is that aspect of your dad and all that stuff, but like
Yes.
as Topher, the fact that he doesn't remember anything, so he wants to kind of
Lazy.
that did come from a little bit of laziness on my part. Okay, I didn't write the backstory in time, so we just decided to roll with it, and we've actually got some really cool stuff planned.
I see
for
where
this.
you're going with this. And I
But
no
agree.
worries.
there
I'll just
needed to
pick up
be.
everyone's
I
slack,
felt like
no
there
big deal.
needed to be like somebody that was trying to be in kind of like control of things, like
Yeah.
because losing his memory, he has no control over getting it back at this point. He needs to control that, and these friends that he has made, like, try to be like not like a father figure, but like try to be like, okay, and think logically about a situation. So
It is cool because like you guys are like the yin and yang, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it definitely adds a lot of color to the group. It's
Well, and like, and realistically,
just Josh
like,
adds none.
it's somewhat of a trope, right? That we've got, you know, our paladin who's super serial and our cleric who's super serial, and then the warlock is like, I'm gonna fuck everything up. But it just kind of works, right?
Yeah.
Because like,
we mesh very well together.
and
As a group.
ultimately, I don't say a lot of nice things about Michael, so I'll keep it short. But
I don't think you're
ultimately,
gonna handle this, honestly.
you know, the show, what makes the show is the story, right? The characters that we play on the show are just arbiters of the story. That's it. So
Ren, no.
as long as we're, you know, as long as we provide comedic relief where it's needed and drive the story along to where it needs to go to get to the next stage, like you're not listening to the show because you want to hear me talk, right? You want to know what happens to Hamilton. And I have input in that, but Michael is ultimately the one that creates that world that you listen to. And so, you know, I don't necessarily have to be super creative and do anything that no one else has ever done
We
before
don't expect you
because because it's just not required. Like I have to just do what's necessary for my character and try to make what he is doing interesting. But the story is really what people listen to. So
It's one of my favorite things about D&D kinda is like, because like we'll release an episode and like obviously it's cool when we record, but then like once Daniel gets a hold of it and it's like we get to hear the final product, it's like there are times like an episode will end and like the music hits like right at the end of the episode and like I get cold chills as like the music fades. I'm like, this is so good. And we'll get people that'll message us and be like, this is amazing. Like, when is the next episode? I have to like, it cannot be in 2 weeks. Like, it has to be like right now. But as excited as you guys all get about that, like whenever we're recording, like there'll be it's not like this every time, but there'll be sessions where like something will happen and I'll just like close my book and I'm like we're done for the day and everyone's like, what? No, like,
Yeah,
keep going.
so
Like, this
I
is-
feel
we
like
experience it too. Don't
yeah, I
worry.
feel like we should clarify because I don't know if we ever have on the show. I know we have like for people that we've talked to at conventions before, but we don't really talk ahead of time about what's going to happen. Like
no, nothing
each of
is
us
predetermined.
individually will work through Michael if there's like an arc that we want to set up for our characters, but it's never like specific details. It's always kind of just like, hey, I had this
Direction.
idea. I think it would be really cool. Yeah, here's some direction. Yeah. And so when we sit down and play, everything that you hear is
Off the
us
cuff.
reacting to everything as it's happening. Like I don't know anything about Topher's character and what he is, what's going to happen to him. I don't know anything more in his backstory than what you've heard by listening to the show. All of that is revealed to us, the players, as we play. And Michael's exactly right. Sometimes we'll end sessions where Michael's like, hey, this is a good place to stop. I don't really have much written past this part, so I want to go ahead and stop here. And we're like, fuck that. I want to know what the fuck happens next. What do you mean you can't just end it there? Like, I'm not going to play again for 2 months. I can't just fucking sit here for 2 months waiting on what's going to happen.
There also,
yeah,
there also have been some times where it's like we just go through this situation. It's like we know we're done for the night, and we're like, "Holy crap! If the final recording product comes out to be as fraction as cool as what that just was, this show's gonna
Yeah.
be badass.
Yeah, like we
I've
have those
gotten
sessions where we're
goosebumps
just like
from our
yeah, that
recording
was good.
sessions before. It's like, whoa, that was seriously a fucking cool session.
But like that's one of my favorite things is like when we're recording and like recently one of the sessions we recorded out at your place, Ryan, where we were all sitting in the room and we had recorded stuff, but then it got to a section that was just all about Topher, and it was the part where he's just being
remember
questioned
that.
while he's working
Yeah.
through this maze. It was just like dead quiet in the room, and everyone is just
We're
like
super listening. We're like,
Yeah,
what
Because
is
it's
he
been
gonna
50
do?
episodes and we don't know anything about Topher.
and then it's like finally some like
Yep.
everyone just like leans in. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like it's a one time you see Jed and Josh simultaneously actually paying attention to something, and it's a miracle. God damn it! So,
Riveting.
I feel like we went a lot about D&D Conda there, but it's like all of our babies. Like
It is.
we love that show so much, and probably no one more so than Daniel, because he's more.
I
intimate
hate
with-
everything about that.
I would argue against that. I think of all of us, he probably likes it the least because he's the
I'd
one
say
that
it's
has
a
to
love-hate.
listen
It's
to it
like
a million times.
The thing that sucks about being the one that takes the content and edits it and adds the music and sound effects and things like that is that like like now I can go back and listen to it and enjoy it for what it is. But going back a week after it's edited and released, like after it's just fresh in my mind, like hearing things that I could have done differently
super
or
self-critical.
just there's a lot of that
There's
and
a lot to be critical of.
a lot of like because there's a lot of content that's cut out to
Yeah.
make the story flow.
Mhm.
Nothing that's important to the story, but like it's I don't know, I think just going over like the original, like just the base product and then trying to get it down to an episode that's feasible, that makes sense, that sounds good with the music and stuff, and just the process of it, then like immediately going and listening to it, like that first listen through once it's finished is great. Then once it's released, it's like, okay, cool. Like I don't have to, I don't want to listen to it again, you know, but now that it's been so long since we even released the first episode, going back and listening to it, it's like, it's almost like a fresh
Mhm.
view of it because all of the memory of me sitting for, I mean, crap, that first episode, like the very first episode took what, like a year to produce?
Well, yeah, before
Well,
we
it
had
would have
like
taken a year now, but then with
yeah,
like,
Yeah,
before the process had been streamlined, there was
Yeah.
so much like manual effort that went into
Yeah,
that.
Jed was in the closet in the room in his house, and we were recording sound effects.
Trying to
for
make
that
sound
first-
effects.
first episode and stuff. It was a lot of fun, but like now that like that stress and anxiety of getting episodes out has passed, and like you said, I've streamlined the process in itself, and I've got better plugins to do the background music and stuff like that. It's more enjoyable to sit down and listen to. But man, like when we were first starting, I didn't even want to listen to the damn episodes. I'm like, it's there. Like you guys have it. It's
I
done.
remember
Like,
when like episode 2 and 3, because you finished those up at once, because it was like part of the same session.
yeah.
Came out, like we didn't release them yet, but we had them done.
The
I probably
first- the
listened
first
to those
actual
like 40
episodes.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
The ones with
They're
Zach, like it was
really,
just
really
cool
good.
to like finally see your product like out there. We were working on remastering those for a while too.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get I need to get everything over onto my laptop, all those plugins,
Yeah.
because holy crap, my now 11-year-old desktop Mac is just not handling it very
Yeah,
well.
it's old.
Speaking of all this D&D and like playing and recording and stuff, we should absolutely, and if you're watching, hit us up on Discord or something. We should absolutely get together and do some more one shots
Yes.
and actually do them the way that I initially came up with the idea and make a fucking drinking game out of it. Because every time we do it, it's always like just some wussified way. It was supposed to be a drinking game. That's how it was originally set up. Just saying.
No,
Yeah, well, I don't have a drinking problem like you do, Chad. I don't know what you want from
same.
me.
I've pretty much completely quit drinking. Stomach ulcer. It's hard. It hurts.
Just cut your White Russians with a little Pepto. You'll be fine.
There we go. Just
Honestly, it probably would work pretty well.
Probably
What's
worked really
that? What would
well,
that be
yeah.
called? A White
He's
Prussian?
chasing with Pepto.
White Prussian.
white Prussian. Oh my gosh.
Ryan,
Anyway,
what do you do?
yeah, I was gonna say like we haven't talked
Who
to
are
Ryan.
you, man? And floating man.
Ryan.
One big Ryan.
I don't know where I'm at.
Whatever way you look, I'll make it look like you're looking at us.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make it real tough on you, and you just move me around.
Damn, he's just flying all over.
Just bounce all over the screen.
I can't not look at you. No, I've been up to a lot of stuff. I've been going off the deep end on just a bunch of different things. Primarily, what's been taking up the most of my time is Halo Rec League. I am a caster and a producer. We have 2 broadcasts. Once a week or twice a week rather. We do 2 series of matches. We host tournaments. We host them in a format like seasons. So, like 30 teams will sign up, and then throughout the season we'll run games every week, and we broadcast the games and we shoutcast the games, and that's a lot of fun. Also, I've been doing Friday Night Feasts, which is like a little passion project where it's something I did back in Halo 5 and for Halo Reach when Forge released for both of those games. But basically, Forge is it's an engine in Halo that lets you build maps. And it has a crazy new scripting component, and it's really amazing what the potential is. But I'm hosting weekly playtesting lobbies where anyone who forges new maps, or if you're a playtester and you want to try out some of the new custom games in Halo Infinite, I organize playtesting events, and we provide feedback directly to the people who develop maps, and we get these new maps that people are creating into the players' hands, and create an avenue for awareness about the new game types that are being developed in Halo Infinite, and it's a lot of fun.
That's fucking awesome.
Ryan,
that's really cool.
I happen to know of a lobby,
Bro.
where you could probably host those.
Bro.
A steady supply of cocaine too.
So allegedly. Allegedly. I've attended these Halo Rec Leagues, and I gotta say, of all the ones that I've watched, because I've tuned in multiple times waiting for Ryan to do his portion, because they alternate. It's like half-hour segments, right? And you do 2 half-hour segments a night or something like that.
So they're basically 2 games. We do 2, and each game has a series of 5 matches. So like these 2 teams, rather than it all being on one game, it's spread across 5 different matches. So it's the best of 3 really. If one of the teams wins 3 games, and they win that series, and then there's another series. So yeah, there's one series that's scheduled at 9 p.m. to Wednesdays and Thursdays Eastern Standard Time, and then there's another series that's scheduled at 10:30 p.m. Wednesdays and Thursdays Eastern Standard Time.
Gotcha. But you're not on all of them, right?
Are we still recording?
I let the other casters. I would be on every one of them, but I don't sign up for every one of the events. So there's a whole roster of casters, and a fewer number of producers for ESRL. But yeah, I try to sign up when I can, but I don't want to take every one of the slots. I give other folks the opportunity to.
ESRL?
ESRL is the name of the parent company. ESRL stands for Esports Rec League. They run rec leagues for Valorant, Call of Duty, and Halo. So you can check them out on VRL for Valorant, CRL for Call of Duty Rec League, and HRL for Halo Rec League. But there's Discords and communities and socials for each one of the 3 games that are underneath of their umbrella.
As a partaker of the HRL broadcasts that he does for the Rec League, Ryan should do every one of them. And it's not that the other guys are bad, but Ryan is just phenomenal, like at doing those. Like,
we should get him on
analysis.
a podcast.
He left the call. Ryan has left the call, everybody.
I thought it'd be funny if I left.
Oh, man.
But no, like the analysis that Ryan provides is fantastic. Like, obviously, like, because Ryan will make like these videos, because he has his own YouTube channel, and he'll make videos of like how to more effectively like move through the map to like save yourself a couple seconds. And then he's made Forge maps to where it'll teach you how to like do more specific jumps to help you maneuver better, things like that. So having someone with an intimate knowledge,
as
of the
long as
game
it's
like
not
that,
more than 12 feet.
Well, right. You gotta, you actually can't.
Got to be
jump that far.
realistic.
In this,
Yeah.
I'm working
Especially
on
as
this.
someone who's only 3 feet tall.
I'm working on this
so-
new jumping obstacle course, and that's one of the scripts that I put in there. Is it calculates the time of trajectory between when a player jumps and then when they land. And if that trajectory is greater than the amount of time that would permit them to travel 12 feet, I immediately put them to the ground. So they're not able to jump more than 12 feet.
Sorry, I didn't want the campaign to end, guys.
But then you just have an NPC do it for them.
Yeah, maybe you should learn to, airwalk.
I have spider climb.
What are you gonna spider climb on the air? You fucking idiot!
I mean, technically, airs matter, so that's debatable.
It ain't.
It is matter, but
No, it's not debatable.
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I don't
Anyway.
I don't think that one. I don't think that's debatable.
That's what DM stands for, debate master,
Debate master.
But yeah,
or does it stand
the
for
rec
daddy
leagues are
masturbator?
cool, and Ryan is very good at the broadcast of those things. I've watched.
I'd
a
have to
few of
bleep
them.
that out.
I don't like watching stuff I'm not a big Twitch watcher. I don't watch a lot of stuff like that. But like whenever Ryan's on there, like it's interesting, and like I'm not just there because Ryan's doing it. I'm doing it because he's good at what he does, and then I actually understand what's happening because he's actually good at explaining it. So
Appreciate that.
kudos to
Thank
you.
you.
But what else? What else are you working on over there, or doing, or a part of things
Well,
and stuff?
I could go
Junk.
Stroking
down
his
my
wiener.
I could go down my nerd topic if you'd like. I've been nerding out over here, man.
Uh-oh.
So we were talking about the Raspberry Pi, right? There's this
I am hungry.
there's this
I'm
thing
starving.
there's this thing called a Pico made by Raspberry. Have you ever heard of the Pico?
Mm-mm.
The Pico is a microcontroller.
I have because you told me about it.
It's-
But that's the only.
It's
reason I know what it is.
hilarious. I don't understand it. So a microcontroller is it's an electric device that's in everything you own. It's in your microwaves, your alarm clocks, everything has an electrical microcontroller in it. This thing
You're gonna freak out a lot of people listening to this show.
this microcontroller costs $4.
They're in your COVID vaccines. They're in everything.
It costs $4 for this microcontroller, and you can do everything with it. So I'm making a remote garage door.
Hope you
opener.
didn't want to be monetized.
You're making your own remote garage door opener.
Yep, Wi-Fi based remote garage door opener.
That's sick. Because like your whole house is like automated lights and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a freaking hacker's wet
You know what would
dream
be
over there.
awesome, Ryan, is if it was if you could set it up to be proximity based and have like a proximity tag on your vehicle so that whenever you came home.
Well,
it
that's
would
that's
open it.
one of the things that you have to engineer into it is because it's really a dumb switch in the sense that you're just telling a servo to turn on or to turn off.
Yeah.
That you really have to have like a checker to know the status of the button you're pressing. So that's one of the sensors is there's a little, it's about this big, and you just aim it toward the garage door, and it has a distance detection on it. It's a little laser, and it tells you how far away whatever you're shining it is. And then you basically, in programming, you say if the reading is greater than X, then the garage door is open, close it. If the reading is not greater than X, the garage door is closed, and then you don't have to close it. But it's just, you're basically programming logic and controlling motors and lights and anything. So it's the building blocks with which invention tools are made. And it's really cool because it costs so little and its capabilities are so great. So it's just, that's my little nerd project. I've also built a simulator, a racing simulator. So I have a little cockpit and, a stick shift and the e-brake and everything. And I've been racing a lot. I've been learning a lot about cars, and I do a lot of little nerd projects like that. And of course, music. I work on music every week. I produce music for the show and for myself mostly. But yeah, I'm got my fingers in a little bit of everything.
What was the not fuck you, Brian.
So fuck them deer.
Fuck them deer.
I still prefer the Dave Mandu.
Dave Mandu. Dave Mandu is a slap. Dave Mandu is a slap for
Dude,
sure.
you're gonna suck as a dad. I still randomly belt that out, like just walking around the house. Or I'll randomly be like 3 cheeseburgers. What the fuck you
What
gonna
the fuck you gonna do?
Hey, Ryan, you're going to have to send that to me. That'll be the outro for this episode.
Oh yeah, we can
so
do that.
everybody can hear it.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Well, Ryan, once upon a time, was the co-host of Video Game Mythos,
Right.
which it's been dormant.
Which was my personal favorite show that we did, and then you guys stopped making fucking episodes.
We have over 10 episodes written and ready to go out. I just need to record them. So the show is not dead.
If only we had a
contrary to popular
studio
belief.
with a well-sized lobby that could house a game night in it.
If only I had all your time.
I told you that I would help you do this.
You write a script for me, I'll come in and record it.
Oh, I have multiple scripts ready. But point being is that show is not dead. It's just because if I didn't want to pay for the podcast feed, I literally pay almost $15 a month to keep that show active for people, and it still has like over 60 to 70 listens a day. Like people still are listening to that show and still leaving comments and reviews on it.
It's a Netflix 4K subscription.
Yeah, it is. It's expensive to keep a podcast up.
Yeah.
It is.
We got bills to pay people.
Patreon.com/13 palm trees.
How else are we
Shameless
going to
plug.
afford these big units?
These big units.
Oh man.
I miss the good old days of Video Game Mythos, like the back and forth. Those are good times. Writing those episodes are a lot of fun. I still have fun writing them because I'll do one whenever I have absolutely nothing else to do. The problem is I never have absolutely nothing else to do. So, but it was a good time. It's a good time.
Agreed.
We left that show with such a banger too, doing the Horizon episode that was like
Existential.
super existential as shit. And we had a voice actor on it and everything, and people were just like, wow, that was great. And then it just never came. And the Ben Drowned episode still gets
Dude,
people
that-
still talk about that.
That episode was so fun to do.
It was a great episode.
I edited that like in bed on my laptop in like pitch black, and I was like,
No, thank you. I still get chills listening to that episode. Like it's just really well done. But Jed has no idea what Ben Drowned is. He's
I have
it's like
no
completely-
clue.
It was
Not
his
at all.
favorite show.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if it was a game that I had never played, I didn't listen to the episode because I didn't.
You never played
never-
Majora's Mask?
No.
Wow. Your childhood.
Rip.
I've never played hardly
Bad,
any
Jed.
of the Zelda games.
Hmm.
I was never a fan of him.
everybody listening is triggered right now. Oh man,
Uh,
that was yeah.
All right,
So-
guys, I hate
back.
to be the one that's going to have to cut us off, but I got shit in my throat. I
but
You have to
uh,
shit in your throat. Is that what you said?
got a puppy I got to get home to.
well,
You guys want
can-
to see my puppy?
I don't. While he's pulling that up, while we're if you've
Please.
been watching this show and you're looking at what we're wearing and you're going, what the absolute mother of God is going on here?
Shut up, Jed.
We have our Shut Up Jed shirt that's available on our website, 13 Palm Trees. 13palmtrees.myshopify.com. That's available now. Jed's going to show you a picture of his new small. Oh my
Oh,
good
gosh.
lord!
Look at that fucking
Please edit in just like the ugliest dumb fucking dog ever onto the phone screen.
It's a lot less sturdy.
Just gonna put a picture
You're
of
also
Josh
just
on there.
horrendously fat.
I'm just gonna put a picture of Josh on his phone.
This is my new
He's so
pet.
cute.
But we have our gushing shirt.
They're not gonna be able to hear you. Your microphone's clear over there.
Our gushing shirt. That's from our first episode of post game content. They
Yeah.
said gushing like 7 times, and Daniel was like, "I hate this. I hate everything about it." So we made a shirt about it.
Yep.
Then we have the Party Blurter Eat, Sleep, Yeet, Repeat shirt. All these
I love
many
that shirt.
more are available on our website.
It's- I
Uh,
need to move us over so it's like right on the nipple.
I hate that. Can you not do that?
I don't need you to
Um,
suck me off.
I can suck
Yeah,
myself off.
we talked about like obviously we're going to keep doing these episodes once a month. We'll introduce some new cast and some behind the scenes stuff, but like all the projects that we talked about, they all just kind of like branch out into. We talked about the bills we're paying and the content that we have. We have bonus content ready to go in the form of like old D&D bonus episodes and stuff like that we're going to put on our Patreon, and our Patreon's live right now. None of this stuff is going to be helpful without, or doable really, without the support of those people out there. We've merged the Patreons from D&D Kinda, the existing ones from just all of our shows from Gurus, even though it ended. Super Nintendo Bros is active now. Their Patreon's on our Patreon. So it's just patreon.com/13 palm trees, and any money that's donated there goes towards funding each and every show, photographer, just podcast, YouTuber, everything. So if it's under our banner, that money helps make it a reality.
Jed's
So-
medical bills.
There's a lot of them. He's a defective human being.
lot.
Shut up, Jed. One more time for the audience.
We're gonna have to make these in bigger print soon because he's gonna go blind, so he's gonna have to like be able to read it.
Make them with Braille.
Shut up, Jed. Braille shirts.
There is a Braille option on the website. I can
Oh
actually
my
spell it out in Braille,
Lord.
but it's like
Dude.
it's not gonna be raised or anything.
God, we should totally do that.
That would be funny.
Right now, the $10 a month tier is a sticker of the month club. We have a ass load of stickers.
We do.
So first month you sign up, you get 2 stickers, and then every month after that, along with some other perks like store discounts, things like
Let's
that.
make a Shut Up Jed sticker.
Go for
How
it.
do we not have that?
I don't know. next time I think about it, I'll get some order.
If you want to support any and all the shows that you're gonna hear about, that you already heard about, projects, things that we're doing, the point of 13 Palm Trees is not to just showcase the specific shows, is to just, like Ryan said in the beginning, is to broadcast all the talents that everyone in the company has, other than what Jed brings to the table, because I can't legally call that talent. So
What he calls talent is like illegal in 47 states. So
he's gonna go underneath the bridge outside here in like 10 minutes. And
Give me some homeless drugs.
so yeah, if you could, 13 Palm Trees or patreon.com/13 Palm Trees, support us there. And thanks for coming under the shade with us for this episode. That was so cheesy. I'm never doing that.
It really was. If you could just not.
it is
Yeah,
literally called
it'd be
Under
great.
the Shade, but whenever you actually form it,
I say
it
under
into
the
words,
shade once, and he's like, "Don't do that." And Jed's like, "You're the game in the lobby." You're the whole episode. It's
Hey, so real quick,
no.
you guys know how whenever you see like geese flying, how they fly in a V formation?
Yes.
You ever notice that there's always more geese on one side than the other?
Yes.
Do you know why, Michael?
Because there's more geese on that side.
Damn, revolutionary.
That's the kind of quality that I bring to the table right
I
there.
was gonna say that is the epitome of being friends with Jed. Always leaves you disappointed.
Yes.
So
And hairless.
Ask his wife.
oof. Until next time. See you later.
Yeah, man, camping down with Dave, man, do. Yeah, Dave, what that frame gon' do? Bought a 6-pack for 3 days. Crazy motherfucker, stay out of my way. Yo, Dave, I'm gonna pull the trigger. You know that your wife doesn't like it when we say certain words. You only speak the truth. Yeah. Dude, you're gonna suck as a dad. Wait, this motherfucker stinks. Crazy motherfucker, stay out of my way. Dave man do. Dave man. Dave man do. Dave man do. Remix.com. Man camping down with Dave man do. Said Dave, what that frame gon' do? Bought a 6-pack for 3 days. Crazy motherfucker, stay out of my way.